Welcome to all Caribbean entrepreneurs. If you've been ready and waiting to take your business digital and get paid online while you sip something strong on the beach, this podcast is for you. We'll hear from the Caribbean's finest entrepreneurs on topics like e-commerce, business development, brand building, social media, their wins and failures. This is the only place in the region helping you navigate the digital age from the Caribbean's perspective. This is Digipreneur FM. And now, let's give it up for the Digiboss himself, Mr. Karan Rose.
Thank you to everybody tuning in to another episode of the Digipreneur FM podcast. As usual, it is your boy, Mr. Karan Rose. DJ, you know what to do. DJ, fade us all the way out. DJ, fade us all the way out. How are you doing, everybody? This is our first episode of April. It's April the 5th. My, oh my. Listen, the time is going. We are having so much fun. The podcast family is growing. And today is episode number 70. 70. Listen, if you have been listening in from episode 1, please give yourself a big boom, bang, bang. And if you are new to the episode, welcome. Thank you for joining the journey. I would love to know how you heard about the Digipreneur FM podcast. Where did you see it? Did anybody tell you about it? I would love to know. It's always good to learn, how people are discovering your work or discovering your business or finding the information, right? A lot of the times it starts with just a Google search. You have a question, you ask it on Google, and then there you go. The information pops up, and then you find us. Or, they find your business, because it's not just about me, but, and then you have people who, recommend the podcast. Or they recommend your products or services, or they say, hey, you know what? Go reach out to that person. That person could for sure give you the answers to your questions. So I'm always interested to know, just how people are finding the podcast, right? So episode number 70. This is really cool. Like, you start these journeys and you never know where it's going to go, how it's going to end up. Are you gonna be here past the 10th episode? Fun fact, I believe the stat is that 60% of all podcasts fail by the 7th episode. All right. I don't want to say don't quote me. Don't quote me, but the stat is very similar to that. You know what? If I could pull it up real quickly, let me see if I can pull up that stat, because it's a very interesting stat. And so pod fade is what it's called when the podcast just ceases to exist. Pod fade happens by the 7th episode, and it happens to over 75% of podcasts. So 75% of podcasts by the 7th episode usually hit pod fade, which is they start to fade out and cease to exist, or they cease to produce any more episodes. That happens by the 7th episode in 75% of podcasts. So I knew the number was ridiculously high. I'm not exactly too sure why. I feel like podcasting is one of the most intimate mediums, right? It's really, you get to kind of, if it's a solo show, you get to just, jump on the mic and zone in. If it's an audio only podcast, you get to really zone in, and have yourself some fun. If you are, having guests, I always think, I think guest interviewing is really interesting. Whether it be, you have a space in person, you guys can bring them in, or you're doing it remotely and interviewing them. But, pod fading by 7th episode, you were never really committed. 7th episodes. But I mean, a lot happened, so no shame. At least you guys got started, and hopefully people, kind of pick it back up. But I love the podcasting medium. It's a lot of fun. And again, this is for me, it's a lot of fun. I love being able to jump on the mic and talk to you guys. It's very different from, my usual blogs or, having to jump on camera. Because for me, jumping on camera to record videos requires a level of energy that you might not always be there for, because you have to physically be seen, right? You got to look half decent. The video's got to make sense. There's a lot more that has to go into video than, say, blogging or podcasting, right? But anywho, I digress. What are we talking about today on episode number 70? Episode 70, I told you guys, I had teased in the last 2 episodes that I would jump on and talk about TikTok, right? So I have finally hit, and I actually hit this some days ago. I actually hit this at the end of March. I finally cracked the 10,000 follower mark over on TikTok. So somebody drop a bomb. Where the yardis at? The yardis know about that. You already know about that, DJ Horn. So I said that, once I hit the 10K mark, I would jump on and have an episode talking about TikTok, and how I was able to grow, what I did, the differences I seen with TikTok and Instagram, and give you guys my insight on the journey, right? And so to set the stage, let me just kind of, set the stage about how I got started in TikTok and when, right? So the very first time I registered for TikTok was December 2019. I was literally in Starbucks chilling with my bro, Devon X Scott, who is another big content creator and YouTuber. We were chilling with a couple of guys, and I think we're getting ready to leave, and I made a joke. No, I think he made a joke, and he was just talking about, how shiny his car was, because he just got it detailed and whatnot, and he was talking about how shiny his car was. And at that particular time, I had just came from the barber, so my bald head was glistening. It was, it looked like we sprayed it down with some Afro Sheen. It was shining. So when he made a joke about the car, I was like, I think I said something to the extent of, I'm like, well, like, wow, that car real shiny, boy. And we laughed just because, again, I don't have a Trinity accent, right? So it kind of sounded funny the way I said it. And then we were talking about TikTok and how Devon and a couple of other guys were able to, really grow on TikTok, and they were experiencing far more growth on TikTok than they were on Instagram. So then they asked me if I had a TikTok account. I'm like, nah. I'm like, my daughter has TikTok, and my daughter was on TikTok when it was Musical.ly, right? And she was always creating dance videos, and that was that. So I knew TikTok in 2019. I knew TikTok from Musical.ly, and I knew that my daughter, was always making dance videos for Musical.ly or whatever. It was like one of the, only social platforms me and her mom really let her use. So I was never really on TikTok. I had never even thought about TikTok at that particular point in time. Even though, I'm a big Gary Vee fan, and, I don't listen to his content all the time because I've gotten the message, or I've gotten the gist of what Gary Vee talks about. But Gary Vee was pushing TikTok hard at the time, saying, and this is like 2019, right? And he was pushing business owners to get on TikTok in 2019, get on it early. It's going to blow up. And I don't even know if he knew. Well, he clearly knew, but it blew up in a big way. So I didn't jump on TikTok when he was telling me to jump on TikTok, but because we were outside, the joke had happened. We got into, the TikTok conversation. So they were like, yo, make a TikTok account right now, right? And I'm like, all right, F it. Let's do it. So I create the TikTok account, and I'm like, okay, well, what the hell am I going to do? Because in that conversation, funny enough, Devon and the other guys were talking about how, you can't. They're like, you're always talking business on all your social media platforms. TikTok's not for that. And you know what? As I remember that, I gotta go and call Devon and be like, bro, remember when you said TikTok wasn't for business? Huh, mother effer? Now look at TikTok. I gotta go in and pull him up about that, right? Because even at that point in time, he was like, TikTok is not for that. That's not gonna fly over here, right? You gotta do something funky or crazy. You gotta make people laugh, whatever. And I'm like, man, like, I'm funny in my own right, but like not to be coming on TikTok and just making funny stuff, right? So I wouldn't just jump on TikTok to just make funny content. Like that was never, I would never do it. And even the funny content I make now is still in relation to the business, right? So anywho, we create the TikTok account, and then we're like, okay, what could we do? And then Devon was like, let's reenact that same thing you just did, about the car, about being shiny. And I was like, okay, we could do that. And then I'll walk up to the car, and then I'll have you shine my head, right? And then we kind of just put it together. And then one of our guys filmed it. So the video looked like me walking up to the car, and I was like, oh, that car real shiny, boy. And then Devon pops out of nowhere and is like, you want me to shine my head? You want me to shine your head for your too, or what? Pause. That was super pause worthy, but you want me to shine your head too, or what? So then I literally bend over, and he rolls up his sleeves and he starts shining my head, right? And that first video, hits like 70,000 views out of nowhere. And I'm like, what the heck? It was so random, right? It was so that's the first video we do that, whatever, right? And then I don't record another TikTok video until like the beginning of 2021. And again, because I was like, okay, well, we hit, 70,000, freaking views and thousands of likes, crap, what do I do for the next video? And I probably shot, 2 videos early in 2020, and it was of me like, just getting a haircut. Random, right? Random. So those videos bombed. They didn't do good. There was nothing to really see or anything like that, right? And I didn't shoot another video until 2021. And even in 2021, I shot a couple videos, and again, I was still trying to force being funny, because I'm like, okay, well, it's TikTok. I need to talk business because I'm not creating any content to be an entertainer. Like, I'm trying to grow my business. I'm trying to build my stock and build my authority in my space. So I create a couple of videos, and I'm still trying to blend it with being funny. But to me, the humor was forcing the humor and trying to use some TikTok effects because you're listening to a bunch of TikTok growth people, and they're giving you ideas for what to use, how to make your TikTok videos get reach and whatnot. And so I'm trying things out, and again, like, it just, to me, it was just forced. It wasn't really it. So I do a couple of videos in 2021. They don't really do good, right? And I probably did like 4 or 5 videos in 2021, and it just didn't do good, right? And then I did, and if that was like early 20. That was like early. Sorry, I'm talking. My timeline is off. That was in 2020. I started in 2019, did some videos in 2020, didn't really do good. I deleted the app altogether. I picked back up the app in 2021. I logged back in. I tried a couple of videos, didn't really do good. So I just left TikTok alone, right? Then, and at this point, I probably have like single digit or double digit followers, right? I had nobody was really following me over on TikTok, right? Now, here's the thing. This year, 2022, I was like, you know what? I really need to get down on TikTok, mainly because at the end of 2021, Google had announced that they are going to be working with TikTok to be indexing videos, right? So when they made that announcement that Google's going to be starting to indexing TikTok videos, I was like, okay, now if you guys listen to my podcast, for quite some time, or you guys follow my content, you guys know I'm always talking about building your digital presence, right? And not just leaving your digital presence over to social media. You want to have your content on platforms that are indexed by the search engines. And so the minute I seen that, I was like, okay, that's a sign from the universe right there. We gotta jump on TikTok, right? We gotta jump on TikTok, because if it's gonna be indexed by the search engines, well, then we're gonna start to create TikTok videos, and we want our videos to be indexed by or be found by the search engines. That's going to help increase our digital presence. So now I have to get on TikTok, right? And so the beginning of February of this year, 2022, right? So at this point in time, I have, less than from when I started in 2019 with the original video, I have less than 10 videos on TikTok going into February 2022, right? I have less than 100 followers going into February 2022. And so I decide, okay, I'm going to cut the BS, right? I'm going to cut the BS. I'm not going to be on here forcing the humor or forcing the entertainment. Let me find something that works for me, right? So I really sat down and I started to think about, okay, what type of content do I want to do for TikTok? I started to find people that were in my space, started to look and see, the type of videos that they are doing, how they are doing it, the length of the videos. And then besides the business content, how do I showcase snippets of my life? What I do, and not just, the random shit, right? Snippets like, what I'm doing behind the scenes to work on my business, work on myself, give you snippets of, what goes into me, the person that is doing a lot of this stuff, right? And so I kind of came up with, a couple of ideas. So I'm going to kind of showcase, the journey of a digital entrepreneur in the Caribbean. And I'd be educating, how I do my business. I'd be giving out tips, be showcasing the behind the scenes. When I go out and I'm relaxing or spending some family time, I'm going to show micro moments like that. Excuse me. I'm going to show micro moments like that. But again, I don't want that to be the focus. However, I do want to show the journey, right? Because what happens is, and you have to be so strategic with TikTok, because if you are creating content, so you could create business content, and obviously it's going to help grow your business. People are going to find you for that. And if you start to create too much random content that's outside of your business, the thing with TikTok is TikTok is so volatile that you could go viral at any moment a video could hit 100,000 views. So at this point, well, I'll get into that. But at this point, I have several videos that have crossed 100,000. Right? And before you get 100,000, you're obviously going to get videos that are 5,000, 10,000 views. And it's not just views. These videos have high engagement, high shares, high likes, a lot of comments. So the engagement is ridiculously high over there. So the reason why you have to be so strategic is if you post something that might be, your micro moment. It could be, you spending some family time and you going to a restaurant or you fishing. If that's the video that blows up and goes viral, all of a sudden, you're now having, thousands of people begin to follow you for the wrong thing. It could have been that you decided to try fishing for the first time and that video goes viral on TikTok. And now you have all of these people who are interested in fishing who are following you and are now commenting, they're sharing, they're DMing all about fishing. And you're like, oh my God, I don't even fish. I don't fish. I don't even care about fishing. I went it because I was trying it because, I'm living to it. I'm showcasing snippets of my life, And now your audience is all messed up. Now you just have a bunch of people following you, sharing your stuff in something that you have no interest in. Or that's not what you're trying to be known for. But that goes viral. Right? And so your audience gets messed up. Now you have people following you, people reaching out to you, people DMing you, people asking you a bunch of questions about something that you have no interest in being known for. And the reason why that matters is because it takes time to DM people or respond to DMs. It takes time to respond to comments. If your inbox is now being filled with random stuff, and you're on that social media platform for business. And remember, keep in mind, everybody, this is my disclaimer. My content, my platforms are all talking about digital business, digital entrepreneurship, all right? So I'm not talking to the people who are using social media passively or for fun. I'm talking to business owners who are using social media. Right? Because there may be some people that listen to the podcast and like, yeah, but what's wrong with, using social media for fun? Nothing. I'm just not speaking to you. I'm speaking to business owners, right? So as a business owner, you're using social media for business, it takes time to be able to respond to all the comments. Now, what happens when you don't respond to any of the comments because it's not something you really care about, so you're not responding? Well, then the algorithm sees that too, right? The algorithm sees that you're not engaging. People are, they're dropping comments and sharing your stuff, and you aren't engaging as well. You're posting and ghosting. The algorithms take that into account as well. It also does not look good on your social media platforms, right? That you're on there, you're posting content, and you're not engaging, right? It's not a good look. So it takes time out your day to respond to the comments, right? Or engage in your DM section. And then on top of which, if your inbox is filled with random stuff that's not pertaining to your business, one, it takes time to respond to those messages in your DMs, but most importantly, you might miss the real DMs you want to respond to for business. Right? And so I've seen, and I see it so much. Matter of fact, this is the majority of what I see from businesses, small businesses, or businesses in general in the Caribbean, is that you're following too many of the TikTok creators. Yes, you have to use trends to grow on TikTok, right? And there's a percentage that you want to do that because you don't want everything to be a trend. because that's not value for your people, right? So when you're following all of these TikTok creators and they're doing every single trend, they're doing every single dance, they're doing all of the trending sounds, and you're trying to do that, and then you get away from building your business on these social media platforms. But because anything, and the reason why you're doing it, the reason why you're following them is because you're seeing them growing. You're seeing them getting the following. You're seeing them getting the engagement. You're seeing the growth, right? So you're like, okay, well, if they're doing it, we're going to do it too, and we should be able to grow as well. But you're following people who are not using TikTok for business. They're using TikTok to grow a following so that they can get sponsorship, or they're just using TikTok for fun. And if your content, if you're a business, and if the wrong content goes viral, then you run into the problems that I just listed out. And so that's what I predominantly see on TikTok, is that businesses are creating a bunch of trending content, a bunch of surface level content, a bunch of just nonsensical content. They are getting the traction on that and then complaining that they aren't seeing an ROI on TikTok, or that the people on TikTok don't make no sense. But then you look at the content and you're like, yeah, but your content is all this filler. It's all this random stuff, right? Seeing people going viral for things that have nothing to do with their business. And it's actually worse for ladies, because I was talking to one of my female business owner friends, and she was like, how, TikTok doesn't make any sense, or it's not making sense for her, because the things that go viral are the things where she's posting quote unquote, thirst trappy stuff, right? That's what people engage with her on. Like when she's posting business content, the traction she's not getting the traction. But when she's posting thirst trappy content, that's where she's getting the traction. But then guess who is DMing? Guess who is following? It's all the men that are commenting thirst trap-like comments, or in the DMs, blowing up DMs, talking about dating and all this other crazy stuff. And so you're getting a following for that. So now if you're getting a following, but the majority of your followers are men running you down for nothing in relation to your business, then it gets to a point where you're like, man, what am I doing this for? What is the point? Right? And so coming back to my original point, I had to figure out that formula. I did not want to do too much of, stuff that is not related to the business, because again, with TikTok, anything could blow up. And the minute the wrong content blows up, you're going to run into some very annoying issues. And so I decided that, 90% of my content is going to be educational stuff within my space. 5% of it is going to be, taking trending sounds and turning it into niche related content, right? And then that last 5%, I'll do micro moments about my life, kind of just, what I'm doing, things outside of business, just so you guys can, get an idea of who I am and, what I'm into, and, building that personal brand. But again, you have to really, really be intentional with TikTok, because boy, oh boy, the first video, and I'll give an example, the first video for me that hit over 20,000 views and over 1,000 likes, and man, over 500 comments, and almost over 100 shares. First video that did that for me was when the blackout happened in Trinidad, and I took some video clips of me at Double Palm, not Palms Hotel or whatever the you know that crazy place. But Double Palm Hotel in Aruka, I took some video clips of that and I highlighted that, while the blackout was happening, they had a generator and I was there, right? And that video, did over 20,000 views, thousands of likes, over 500 comments, over 100 shares or whatever. And I was like, oh, damn, okay. Damn, why is it that this is the first video that's doing these kind of numbers and engagement for me, right? I was like, man, so again, I'm now responding to all of this stuff in relation to the hotel and the generator. And I'm like, man, I don't want to be doing this, right? I don't want to be doing this. But it was good. It was just good to see, okay, you can create something that can get the high engagement or whatever, right? So after that, I just got really intentional. As much as this is cool, as much as this is fun, I don't want to be, running down that road of that type of content and then be stuck in this position of trying to respond to DMs and comments about things I care nothing about. I care nothing about the hotel. I was just there because they had a generator. So I started to create more educational content. And the first piece of educational content, and thankfully it's my highest viewing piece of content to date, was me talking about payments, e-commerce and digital payments. And I did a 6-part video series on PayPal, just taking all of the steps. So I would have done this, through blogs. I would have done this in, long form YouTube videos. And I just broke down each step about PayPal into, 1-minute clips, talking about each step of the process, from registering to creating the account to, setting it up, to getting paid, to withdrawing the funds, the pros and cons of video. And I just took each of that and I turned it into 1-minute video. And, out of the 6, 3 of those videos have crossed over 130,000 views, over 3,000 or 5,000 likes, and thousands of comments and thousands of shares. And then on top of that, being able to take those videos, take those TikTok videos, taking out the watermark, posting it on Instagram Reels, also uploading them to YouTube Shorts. And the amount of traction overall has been astronomical. It's been astronomical, right? And since then, I've been able to get quite a few videos that have hit the over 100,000 watches. I've had quite a few videos hit over 50K, over 20K. Even just getting the videos to 10,000K. Between 5 and 10,000K, I'm like, okay, good. If the video doesn't even do 1,000, then I'm testing to see, okay, what didn't I do? What didn't I do? What I did wrong, what I might have did right in some of the other videos. I might take those videos and repost them, and I've done that. I've had videos where I posted them, gotten like 100 views. Reposted it again a couple days later, and all of a sudden 20,000 views, right? So I don't know. I don't think anybody's truly figured out the TikTok algorithm. I think people, I think everybody's still testing. But I mean, I'm testing too, right? So I've been able to get some quite a good bit of videos with some heavy engagement. So that's good. But again, the focus for me has really been on the educational content. Now, people have asked how many times to produce content on TikTok. And you're hearing a lot of people talking about posting 3 to 5 times a day. And I know that is daunting for anybody who's not really interested in creating content, or they're now getting their feet wet and like, 3 to 5 times a day. I don't even post 3 times a week, let alone 3 times a day. And you know what? I think creating TikTok content, I think it's the easiest piece of content to create because everything is content, right? Everything that we do is content. Everything you do can be related back to your niche once you're creative enough to do that. But because it's unpolished video, it's you just taking your phone, turning on the video camera, no editing. And some of the most viral videos have no editing. It's just people on their phones, right? So that's the one good thing about TikTok is that you're not required to, edit these videos. Once these videos make sense to the people that are following you, that's it, right? So it's for me, it's easy to get 3 videos out because I'm always doing something in my space that I can quickly record. So I could easily give a quick tip, record that, right? Especially like if I'm blogging or if I'm doing a video, I'm doing a podcast, I can just take one point from whatever I'm doing, turn on TikTok, turn on the camera, and record that one point and kind of expand on it within that 30 to 60 seconds. And that's a video. I can record a snippet of the behind the scenes of me working. That's content, right? I might hear a trending sound or might see a trending sound, save it, and then throughout the day, it might just dawn on me, hey, I could, take that sound and point out something within my space. And then before you know it, there's 3 videos done, right? And one of those videos might hit 1,000 views. They might hit 10,000 views. You have no idea what is going to blow up for you and drive traffic in. And so now, when I've been looking at my HubSpot to track, where my followers are coming from, I'm now starting to see TikTok people coming in and registering to my platforms coming in from TikTok. So starting from February, let me just pull out my phone. Let me just take a look at the stats. And let's see what the stats look like from February. So we're jumping into Creator Tools, the analytics. Let me go back into 7 days. Let's go back into the last 60 days. All right. So within the last 60 days, I've gained over 10,300 followers in the last 60 days from February 3rd to April 3rd. Over 10,300 followers in that time, right? So like I said, I came in with less than 100 followers, and I gained over 10,300 followers in the last 2 months for a growth rate of 1,467% is the growth rate. Insane. Now, if I were to take a look at, if I pull up Instagram for that same period, right? Let's see. Pulling up Instagram stats. Instagram won't give me the last 60 days. It's going to give me 90 days. So let's do this. We're going to go month for month. So I'm going to punch in March 6th to April 4th. That's the last 30 days. We're going to do that the same period for TikTok. And I just want to give you guys a bit of a comparison for, what the growth has been like in a month. All right. All right. So within the last 28 days on TikTok, I've gained 5,380 followers in the last 28 days. In that exact same period on Instagram, I have gained 785 followers on Instagram for the exact same period. And I put out more content on Instagram. So I take a lot of anything I do on TikTok, I'm reposting on Instagram. But then I also have, the carousel posts. I also have quotes. I might throw in some, pictures on Instagram. And then I have the Instagram stories as well. So I'm constantly showing my behind the scenes of, day-to-day stuff I'm doing on Instagram stories. So I produce a lot more content. Matter of fact, the most content I produce on any platform is on Instagram, right? So Instagram algorithms are just not as rewarding as TikTok, right? And the breakdown for... I'm just going to pull up the accounts reached on Instagram, right? So if you really want to grow on Instagram right now, you have to be doing reels, right? Not videos, but you actually have to be uploading reels. Reels is where Instagram is giving you any sort of reach right now. So within the last 30 days, my reels, hear the difference. For reels, my account has hit over 40,000 accounts reached for Instagram reels. Over 40,000, right? 37,000 of that 40,000 is people who are not following me. You hear that? So if my reels have hit over 40,000 accounts, 37,000 of those people have not been people following me, right? The next content reach category has been videos. Videos have hit 14,000 accounts, right? And 11,000 have been people not following me. And then for regular posts, like static post pictures, accounts reached is 7,000, where 4,000 of that have been people not following me. So you see, like, if you want to get reach, now remember, if your content isn't reaching anybody, you're not going to be able to get people to see your content or engage in your content. And you're not going to be able to bring new people into your platform. The goal is to be discovered, not just to produce content for people already following you. How else are people going to find you if you're not creating content that's being shared or you're not bringing new people in, right? And so Reels has been the biggest and by far where I've been able to get new blood coming in to follow me, right? And this last month has been the most that people have followed me on Instagram, right? We're now at 5,700 followers on Instagram. So the short form content on TikTok and Reels is really what has been able to help grow my platforms, and focusing on niche related educational content. The beauty of the short form content is that you don't have to go too far in depth. Or I shouldn't say you shouldn't go too far in depth. What you really want to be doing with the short form content is not going too wide. So rather than going, you could put some list based videos in there, like, hey, top 5 things to do this. But then another video, and again, this is more content for you. So if I have a video saying, hey, top 5 this, I might do other videos diving deeper into that one point. So, hey, here are my top 5 payment platforms. And I might list them out. But then I might do another video saying, hey, let's take a look at this one payment platform and give you guys more content about that specific platform. All right? So you ultimately need to figure out or find that formula for what type of content to create. However, whatever you do, however you do it, honestly, you have to experiment. But the only red flag or disclaimer I would say in figuring out your content is minimize non-related content. If you are using social media for your business, minimize as much as possible your non-related content to your business. Because as I was telling you guys earlier, talking to my friend, going viral for thirst trap videos isn't going to get you business. It's just going to get you headache and filler. Same thing for me. Having my first, video that does really, really well on a hotel. I'm now spending all this time talking about something that has no relation to my business when I could be doing something else. And if you're not responding to these comments, you're not engaging, remember the social media algorithms, they take all of those things into consideration when they're going to be pushing your content. You don't want to post and ghost. And so, that's really been the formula for me, being able to grow to the 10,000 plus followers in this 2-month span, right? Creating niche related content, going hard on that and giving people the information that they want, all right? I've also started to, break down problems and things in my space, in my niche. So, I would have done videos talking about how, these new digital marketing jobs are coming up and they're like 7-in-1 roles or 10-in-1 roles. Talking about just the problems that are happening in my space and being very open and candid about that and having those conversations on my platform. Those videos have done really, really well for me as well, right? So you can go, I don't want to say viral, right? Because I think too many people are chasing viral, right? Chase value. Chase value. Figure out how to create the most value in your content. Teach in your content as a business. Show your business solving problems. And if you do that and do that well, you're going to build a loyal following in your space. And what that does is that gets followers for people who are interested in your products, services, who want to learn from you, who want to do business with you. And if there's other partners who are looking to collaborate, if there's companies looking to, sponsor or work with you or bring you in to do stuff, everything is on brand, everything is on topic. But if the majority of your content has nothing to do with your business, then you're going to get a influx of people who are not here for your business. And I am seeing more and more people that are getting engagement on things not related to their business whatsoever. And then when they post their business content, the people aren't there for that. So they get no traction on the business content. And then what are you left with? Then you got to come back. You need to remind yourself, what exactly are you using social media for if you are a business owner? Are you using it to go viral with people who do not want to do business with you and do not want to give you money or work with you? Or are you trying to be valuable to a specific group of people? Remember, all it takes is one person to make you a millionaire. You could have one client that pays you $1 million and you are now a millionaire. So you don't need a big group of people, right? But you do need to be valuable to a niche. And the more you are creating non-niche related content and you are, training the algorithms to send out your content to people who have no relation to your space, then it's only going to muddy up your social media and bring in people who do not fit your ideal customer profile, who are not going to spend money with you, and they're only going to engage with you on the non-niche related stuff. And then you start to see that, and it starts to mess with your mental as a creator. You start to think, well, if nobody's messing with my business content and they're only messing with the random content I'm putting out, then I'm going to start doing more of that. And then before you know it, again, people who want to do business with you or want to Google you or find out, more about you, when they come and they see this, it's like, yo, who is this person? Is this somebody who is aligned with the values, or are they aligned with the mission that we're trying to put out? So you need to really, really keep that in mind as a business owner who is creating content. Now, we've hit the 50-minute mark, right? I want to wrap this up. On TikTok, I've started to see some amazing content creators. They're not in the Caribbean, but I needed to point this out. I have watched videos from, actually no, there are some in the Caribbean that I'm going to mention. I've seen some videos from people who are vets, people who are work with horses. They're farriers. They work with horses. I've watched horseshoe cleaning videos and them breaking down tutorials and the signs and breaking down what happens under horses' hooves. And I've sat there and I've watched all 3 minutes of the video because it was educational, it was entertaining, and I just loved the fact that, I'm seeing somebody talk about cleaning a horseshoe with over 3 million likes, over 1 million comments, over 1 million shares talking about something in their space. So now, if I ever decide to get a horse and the horse needs to change its shoes, who would I call? I've seen a mechanic in Trinidad. I've seen a mechanic. I thought this was so dope. The video quality wasn't even that great. It was kind of foggy. He probably needs to clean the lens. But I still watched it because he was like, customer, the video starts, he's like, customer just brought their car in. They're experiencing a knocking sound in the engine. Let's go take a look. And this man filmed every step of him doing the diagnostics, bringing out the machine, plugging in under the steering wheel, checking the diagnostics. He read out the different signs as to what they could mean. And then because he looked at the signs, he then kind of took us through his process of, figuring out where that knocking sound is coming from. And by the end of the video, he showed us that, he took out the oil pan. He's seen some metal in it and whatnot. And he was like, there's probably some engine damage. We're taking a look at the engine head block. And by the end of the video, he told us what the problem was. And that video has like over 10,000 likes. That video had over 5,000 comments and thousands of shares. And that's a mechanic talking about engine damage on TikTok. So if you see all of that, who are you going to call when you have car problems? You're going to call him. I found my chiropractor, my new chiropractor, my new manual therapist or physiotherapist. Shout out to Kern Roberts. And this is not a sponsored, post or shout out, but I found him. I found Memphis Rehab Center because of TikTok. I'm scrolling through and I'm seeing this guy cracking backs. And I'm like, I'm hearing a Trini accent. I'm like, this guy is, and I follow a few YouTube chiropractors, right? And I'm like, damn, I wish I had one of these guys here. Heck, I probably need to fly to the States and go to them because I have scoliosis, and it acts up pretty bad. So I'm like, I probably need to fly out to one of these guys. So when I'm scrolling through TikTok and I see his videos and I'm hearing a Trini accent, I'm like, there's no way there's a Trini chiropractor doing the Dr. Joseph Cipriano moves, the neck Y strap. There's no way he's doing the tubio lift. And I'm calling out all of the techniques that I see on the YouTube chiropractors. I'm like, this man is doing it all. Man, I watched a few of his videos. I hit the link in I booked immediately. And I laughed my ass off when I went into the appointment and he was like, so how did you hear about us, right? And I'm like, I laughed because I'm like TikTok. And he's like, oh, why are you laughing? I'm like, because that's still so weird to me. I found you on TikTok, right? Like, I'm not accustomed to saying that, right? It didn't start with a Google search. I found you because of TikTok. So now to add that into the repertoire of, how to be discoverable, people are finding you via TikTok. To me, it's new, it's refreshing, it's funny, it's crazy. But again, seeing the business owners who are doubling down on their niche-related content. So Kern Roberts, the physiotherapist, he has like over 17,000 followers on TikTok. His engagement is super high, and all he focuses on is educating on your back, your spine, how to sleep with pillows, how to get rid of, pains in your lower back, your hips. And he's just going hard on that and building super, super engagement. Right? So, again, you watch his videos, and what do you think? Anybody that finds him, they're only going to be talking to him about his niche. And after they ask questions, the next logical step is for them to say, yo, I want a book. And because he has the link in bio to book, you didn't even have to message. You just go book your session. I didn't even talk to him. I seen all the videos. I had seen enough. I knew this was the person for me. And I hit the link in bio and I booked my session, went in, paid, and I was good. Right? So focus on your niche related content, folks. Get creative in that, because the more you deviate from that and your content on TikTok goes viral, that'll be the worst thing to happen to you, because you're just going to start to get people who have no business following you, no business. And again, I stress, it's worse for ladies, because you're also trying to protect your safety on these platforms, right? Not saying that, you can't, put out, certain type of content that might look good or whatever. No, I'm not telling you that. I'm just telling you, be mindful. We know the realities of the world and the situations that we are in, right? And I'm not telling you to censor yourself or dumb it down. No, I'm not telling you that, right? I'm just saying, be mindful, right? The last thing you want, if you want to be known for your industry, be known for that, get creative in that, go hard in that. Right? The last thing you need is anything and anybody detracting you from your mission and your goals. And the last thing you want is inbox of men running you down about nothing. I don't know if it happens to men. I mean, I don't really be getting the influx of women trying to waste my time, but but we know the reality of the situation, all right? So anyways, I just wanted to jump on, give you guys an episode of, the 2 months of me focusing on TikTok. I posted, 2 to 3 times a day. I posted. I focused on, the majority of it niche related content. I realized really quickly, don't deviate too much, because if the wrong stuff blows up, you're going to be wasting a lot of time, and people who are going to start to follow you for things that you care not to be known for, or you don't want to be responding to, that takes up your time, that takes away from, training the algorithms to push your content to the right people, right? You don't want that. And most importantly, just being consistent. Consistent posting for 2 months led me to hit the over 10K, because I think we're at like 10,005 right now, right? And we hit 10,000 back on March 30th, somewhere there, right? So it was just under 2 months, but for conversation's sake, let's just call it 2 months, right? 2 months for 10K. I've been on Instagram for years. I'm only at 5,700 followers on Instagram, and I've been on that for quite a few years at this point now, all right? That being said, I hope you were able to take some points in this episode. I hope we opened your mind, to what you should be doing on TikTok, even on Instagram. Get your reels done. If you are creating content on TikTok, make sure to remove the watermark, upload that to your Instagram reels to start building that that traction over on Instagram, and also upload to YouTube Shorts, because YouTube Shorts is part of YouTube, which is a search engine, right? So people can Google your videos from YouTube Shorts, and because the update with TikTok and Google is rolling out, more videos are going to start to be indexed by the Google search engine from TikTok as well, all right? That's it from me, folks. I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. Please, if you are listening to this on Apple Podcasts or Spotify, make sure to drop a review of the podcast. If you enjoyed the episode, the reviews help to grow the Digipreneur FM family all across the globe. Make sure to reach out to me on social media. I'm at Keron Rose, KeronRose, on any social media platform. LinkedIn, Instagram, TikTok, Facebook. You guys can follow me over there. Don't forget to check out the KeronRose.com website where we focus on helping you build your brand and monetize your platforms. And you can also check out the Digipreneur.fm website. Subscribe to the email list or the push notification list to ensure that you never miss another episode, all right? That is it from me, folks. I hope you guys enjoy the rest of your week. Everybody, take care.
You've been listening to the Digiboss, Keron Rose. We hope your notepad was filled after this episode. Make sure to like, rate, and review the show. The learning doesn't stop, folks. And to make sure you don't miss any gems from the Digiboss, go over and follow him on all social media platforms at Keron Rose. Folks, don't just sit there with a notepad. We need you to implement at least one thing into your business before the next episode. That's the only way your business levels up. Thanks for listening to Digipreneur FM. Now go be great.